Hey everyone, it's Mr. Souther coming at you with a lesson about attributes. We are in Unit 2, Lesson 1. You'll make your way through the various modules, but let's talk about Module 5 here. So it's part of our skill building, declaring instance variables. So I just decided to pick recipes and let's actually get coding when it loads. So basically, one way to think of this is variables are a very easy way to think about this is they store values. Imagine we had a bunch of boxes. And in one box, I label it Jordans. Another box, I'm going to label Hoka's. And another box, I'm going to label Adidas Yeezys, right? And what you can do in those boxes is store whatever the specific shoes are. You can also have boxes for money, right? And one box, I can label it as US dollars. Another box is Japanese yen. And then we can go ahead and assign at some point some sort of dollar amount that fits in those boxes. So what we're going to do for this one is there's a couple to-dos. They want me to first, so basically we're trying to help a chef keep track of the recipes. Simple. First thing they want me to do is go to the recipe class, and they want me to basically create these variables. So we're going to talk about that in a second. But first things first, before I just race along, we have our tester class here, recipe runner. So I'm just going to take a quick look at it. Not that there's anything here. But on line 2, we see public static void main. So that's just a reminder that, hey, this recipe runner is going to be the tester class. That is my quarterback for the code. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to recipe.java. And so far, I see absolutely nothing. There's just a public class recipe, and that's it. One thing I'm going to note here is that recipe is not some sort of subclass of a superclass. It is just a recipe class all by its little self. Now we get to the to-dos. So what it wants us to do is declare instance variables for the type of meal, the number of servings, and whether or not it is healthy. So some notes for you here, just to recap what we did before. First things first, I'm going to comment these in. If you have text, right, that's going to be string. If you have an integer, that's going to be the int data type. If you have a decimal value, right, that's going to be double. And last but not least, if you have a true false statement, then it's going to be Boolean, which is the funniest sounding one of all. So the first thing I'm going to ask is what type of when we talk about type of meal, like what is that? So I'm going to go ahead and use the public keyword first because I want to be able to access this variable from anywhere. And then the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to type in that data type. Okay, so let me type in the formula. So it's basically public, and then we're going to do the data type here, right, which could be string, int, double, or boolean. And then lastly, we're going to do the name is going to go at the end. All right, so we have that all going for us. So now when I'm talking about instance variables for the type of meal, then it's important for me to understand, is that a text or is that a number? And very specifically, we know that it's going to be text. So I'm going to do public, data type is string, and the variable name, let's just call it type of meal, so type. Next thing I'm going to do is declare the number of servings. So it's going to be public again. And the number of servings, let's not do halves, so I'm just going to do int, right? So one serving, two servings. So how many people basically is this going to serve? And then finally, whether or not it is healthy. So I'm going to do public, and that's a Boolean, right? Because you're either healthy or not. And right away, what we did is we declared these instance variables. Okay, so they're all declared. I'm going to run it just to make sure I don't do anything silly and I don't have any errors right now. And you'll see that there are no errors, which is great. So then I'm going to go back to recipe runner and we're going to instantiate a recipe object. So all we got to do for that, okay, is I'm going to go ahead and instantiate a recipe object. So the naming convention is going to be the same. Instead of painter, Whitley equals new painter, we're going to do, what is this called? Recipe object. So recipe, let's just call it ratatouille equals new recipe. There we go. And then we just need to, is that it? And then, print the instance variables for the recipe object. This is something you got to be careful with. We have to use this attributes helper to print this object. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and use this attributes printer to help to print the object. So instead of Fido, I'm going to change that to Ratatouille. I could just copy and paste it. And let's see what this shows. So now it's going to show public string type. So everything, it shows me what all of the little attributes are. So it shows me the variables, type, servings, and healthy. Okay. If I hit test, it will say I did it correctly or not. Let's see, what do they want me to do? Class variable type meal. Oh, they want me to have private instance variables. Whoops. Sorry, I missed that part of this. So let's go ahead and change that. I could hear the class applauding for me here. I just didn't read the directions correctly, I guess. Okay, so we have all private. Let's test it again. Perfect. Now we're good to go. So you might be asking, we'll see it in one of the later modules, but why do we care about public versus private for our various data or our various variables? The reason for that is when I create an object called Ratatouille, when I assign the values for the variables, I want it to be specific to Ratatouille. I don't want it to overwrite someone else's type, servings, or healthy. Okay, so that may not make much sense right now, so let me keep moving along. And I'll hit finish. So then for our next one, we're going to go ahead and go to the 6th module in the bubble. And here we're going to talk about refactoring code. That's just a fancy way of saying, is there a way to clean it up and make it more efficient? All they're asking you to do is reset the program. Okay, no problem. So I'll go to version history and you just hit start over. I don't think I've done anything in my profile that I've used here. Okay, so then we have all this set up. So now they just want me to add the following code. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and print all of that. And I think they want me to comment out lines 8 through 10. So let's go ahead and take care of that. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and tab these over because it looks cleaner to me. Let's go ahead and run it. Oops, not that. Run. Let's see what comes out. So it's going to go ahead and print all of these things. So we have content class attributes, private string title, private int year, movie class is private string title, private int year, and then TV show class. You'll notice that they use title and year over and over and over. So if content has all of this, movie has the same ones, and TV show has the same ones, I wonder if we can maybe use subclass and superclass. So let's move on to module 7. Okay, so now what we're going to do is they know that we can modify. So basically what's happening again is private string title, private int year are part of class content. Okay, in class movie, you'll see that private int title and year are sorry, private. So title and year are also in here. So these are redundant. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and block out the redundant or comment out the redundant code. And then all I need to do is I know that movies should extend content. And you might ask, are you sure you want to keep title and year commented out? Absolutely, because now since I'm extending content, this makes movie the subclass of content. The content class already has title and year declared. So me redoing it is not going to help at all. And then same thing, a TV show, we're going to go ahead and do the extends, and we want to extend from content. There we go. Let's go ahead and run it to make sure there's no errors. And it looks like there are no errors. And in fact, when you run the TV show class or the class attributes for all these, it'll also give you this little code. Again, when you do attributes helper, that is 100% their code. So what that means is the attributes helper is just going to show you what the attributes of the class are. Looks like I failed something, so let me just take a look. Here, so content movie show, TV show class declares an instance variable for the number of episodes and inherits title and year from content. This has failed. I think this is the one where I have issues with. Let me just see. I'm at TV show. It is not happy with the number of episodes, but I see it right here. So let's see. Again, declares an instance variable for the number of episodes and inherits the title and year from content. We already did. Oh, I forgot to comment these out. Whoopsie. Every now and then, some of these tests that code.org doesn't work right. So let's just make sure that works. There we go. Okay, I just forgot to comment out string title in int year. All right, moving right along. Probably gonna do a check for understanding, but I might as well do it. So instance variable is basically going to be a variable defined class that represents an attribute of the object. Refactor is this ability to work on the structure of the program, make it more efficient without messing with its functionality. An object-oriented programming concept where the instance variables of a class are hidden. That's going to be the access modifier. So that's the private or public. And then the encapsulation should be the keyword for the, whoops. Actually, I might have that mixed. Let me see. Whoops, my bad. So we're going to go ahead and flip these two. There we go. Okay, so for part 9, I think this is the main one we need to do. I'll do one that's a little bit harder. So let's do, I think, desserts and cupcakes. Okie doke. So for this guy, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and there's a lot going on, but we just need to just follow it one to do at a time. Okay. So we're going to create the dessert class. We're going to declare instance variables, and we're going to refactor the cupcake class to be a subclass of the dessert class. So again, refactor is typically we do the changes to streamline something or make it more efficient. But refactor is just a fancy way of saying make changes without messing everything up. Okay, so first things first, we need to go to dessert class and we need to declare instance variables. Okay, so again, I have flavor. So what I'm thinking is declare the flavor variable that is text, right? And I'm also going to declare price as double, right? So those are the two things that you should remember. So first things first, I'm going to do private. They want private class instance. They want private instance variables if I can talk. So we're going to do flavor. But before that, I need to use string and then flavor. So let's going to go ahead and declare it. Price is double. So I'm going to go ahead and do private double price. Go ahead and run it while I can. And I see no errors, which is great. Now I need to refactor the cupcake class. I'm going to go to cupcake to be a subclass of the dessert class. No problem. So you'll notice that cupcake has flavor price is MIDI. Dessert already has flavor and price. So since I created flavor and price here, I don't need to redeclare it over here in the cupcake class. So to make this a superclass or a subclass, we're going to do extends dessert. Whoops. Okay, I'm going to run it just to make sure. This is the important part of refactoring. We need to make sure that no new errors pop up. Okay, last thing I need to do is comment these out, right? Because I've already used them. Run it again just to make sure nothing's wrong. And then we're going to go ahead and go to the food truck runner and instantiate the dessert object. I like to delete out all the extra space. Instantiate the dessert object. Do they want both? Let's just read the 2D number 3. Yep, they want a dessert object and a cake object. So let's go ahead and do, we'll do dessert first. What is, we'll just call it brownie equals new dessert. And then we're going to have a cupcake class object. Let's just call it, sprinkles. I don't know. What's another cup? Or red velvet, right? There's a red velvet, which is going to be a new cupcake with a capital C. Go ahead and run it to make sure there's no errors here. So I instantiated the objects, so they're there. And then I think all I need to do is just run this attributes helper for both. So we're going to do one for brownie and do one for red velvet, all one word. There it goes. And it tells you where it inherited from. Let's go and test this. And we passed everything. So there's that. All right, I hope this helps for lesson 1 of unit 2.